minutes, sir.
So, 25 minutes is one hell of a time in war. You can do devastating damage across in 25 minutes. The missiles and the artillery batteries who are firing can land up a whole lot of TNT on the opposing side in 25 minutes. And see, when you go to Iran firing 181 missiles and drones, etc., against Israel, they all landed up together in Israel. So this is all kind of a very fine tuning which is being carried out by the forces, and we have also proven that we can do the same kind of fine tuning which was done between the army and the air force. And of course, the explosives selected were sufficiently focused so that then precise that it doesn't cause collateral damage, which is also a great plus in the whole operation carried out. So it's a day to be proud of, not only by the operation carried out and the message being conveyed and the retribution, it's also issue to be proud of for the kind of operation that the armed forces have carried out.
I'd like to quickly bring in Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. Ambassador, the way these precision strikes have been carried out, it possibly is our best yet, at least from the detailing that was given by Vikram Mistry and the colonel and the wing commander, the two ladies who fronted this press conference. Again, hugely symbolic. I felt extremely emotional to see two women fronting this presser to speak of India's resolve, because the world is currently watching on what India's formal statement is, and that's what it was. A complete breakdown of terror hideouts that India targeted. It's very surprising to me that India may have carried this out right after Pahalgam. The detailing with which the strikes have been carried out, it looks like this was already in the pipeline.
No, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. It is not something that had been planned for a long time. Of course, India is always prepared to take on Pakistan when it comes to terrorism. But this attack certainly was precipitated by the Pahalgam terror attack. And its name is very significant, Operation Sindoor, because Sindoor is what Hindu married women put in their mang. And by calling it Operation Sindoor, the government has sent a signal that whatever it is doing to target the terrorists is because of their activities to kill Hindu men and tell them, their wives, that they should convey to PM Modi, that etc., whatever they had to say. The point is, right from the naming of this operation to the manner in which it was carried out, to the targets, it was an operation meant in the context of the terror attack in Pahalgam. Now, India has sent across several messages. Firstly, a message to Pakistan that it will have zero tolerance for terror. Secondly, to the rest of the world, that where terror is concerned, it is necessary for all countries to come together and combat this menace. And thirdly, a larger message, particularly to Pakistan, which needs to be delivered this message, that it cannot afford an escalation. There are signs that Pakistan will try to escalate, because it will try to send a message to its own people that, it is the great defender of Pakistan, that is the army. However, the message which India has sent across is that we only targeted the terrorist camps. We did not target a military site or sites which are of importance to Pakistan's economy, or sites which are civilian in nature. So it was a limited strike confined to terrorist camps. So the message is that if you escalate, then we will have the option to carry out wider strikes, which will hurt Pakistan, mainly because of the fact that the population of Pakistan is already very dissatisfied. They are facing serious economic troubles. The holding of the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance is going to further hurt the people of Pakistan because of the fact that it will bring economic hardship. So the message is, let's contain it at this. We are striking against terrorists. Let us not carry this forward. Let us not make it bigger and broader. If you do it, we have the option to do it, and we are very well prepared.
Major Bansal, your opening comments. What do you make of the press briefing? I know not much came out of it. The visual evidence was given. You must have gone through the briefing. Your opening comments, sir?
See, the entire operation was carried out with utmost precision. The target was selected well in advance and it was very, very well planned, very, very well executed. With the while the Indian platforms are well within the Indian territory. So I would say that it has been a very well planned operation and a message has been conveyed to Pakistan. More than a strike, it is the message is conveyed to Pakistan that enough is enough and we are capable of striking you deep in your territory. Not only surgical strike, not only areas along the line of control, we are able to strike you in your mainland. We are able to strike you deep as 100 kilometers inside. And we are going to strike precise at the heart of the terror. So if you react, of course, it will escalate further.
So one thing is very, very clear. It was precise. It was 25 minutes. But Ambassador, I have a question to you. You know, this question I insist on asking to every panel. Sir, will this change the behavior of the Pakistani state? Previous operations, we taught them a lesson, but did not change the character of the Pakistani state. Every military exercise has a political objective. Do you think that this one will suffice, or more non-kinetic action should be married with similar actions like these for a longer period of time, sir?
Well, you said you insist on asking this question at every panel. On every panel, I have said that Pakistan's avowed policy is to bleed India by 1,000 cuts. I was posted in Pakistan in the early 1980s, more than 40 years ago. And I used to hear the Pakistani general speak of this policy even then. And this has continued to be their rant. So it is in their genes to try and hurt India as much as possible. Since they cannot afford an all-out war because of various factors, they learned a lesson in Kargil when they tried to do so. So they have taken resort to only state-sponsored terrorism. Now, in this particular century, let us see the 2008 Mumbai terror attack, the 2016 Pathankot attack, the Uri attack, then the 2019 Pulwama attack. These have been major terrorist attacks and they indicate that Pakistan is pursuing this policy of trying to lead India by 1,000 cuts. It's not given up. So it is in their genes. Now, what should be our policy? I have always maintained that Pakistan is finding difficult to hold together as one country. Baluchis, Pashtuns, they are trying to break away. There are liberation movements going on in Balochistan and Pakistan. And if Pakistan wants to bleed us by 1,000 cuts, we should break it up by 1,000 blows. And those blows will come, of course, from us, economic in nature, political in nature, also, if required, military in nature. But at the same time, these blows will also come from within Pakistan by elements within their society who feel that their rights are being trampled upon, that they are being discriminated against, and that their future lies away from Pakistan and breaking away from Pakistan. So Pakistan has multiple challenges, and I think it's not going to become easy.
You know,
for the rule
from the
that
visuals that we see, sir, we're looking at India really doing its research, thorough one. And this only makes me believe that India has used extensive amount of intelligence, surveillance to back this high precision operation. If I could bring in Major Amit Bansal on this, the kind of surveillance that we see through these graphic footage here that's been displayed at the press conference, what does it really suggest? How advanced is India at this point in its surveillance? We're looking at some really graphical image, some vivid graphical images there that shows exact targets of terror hideouts.
See, Nabila, in last 10 years, India has taken a very, very big leap in terms of technology. When it comes to military satellite, when it comes to observation satellite, lower satellites, it comes to your observation things, both electronic intelligence as well as the human intelligence. So we have taken a big leap in that case. So as we keep on hearing in the intelligence community, so with this leap, it is very, very easy to monitor these targets in a real-time basis, using our satellites, using our UAVs, using our other platforms. And that's the reason why we are able to see these visuals, and which Pakistan cannot deny. These are undeniable evidences, irrefutable evidences.
Suitable evidence. Now a lot of visuals have come. Let me play out the bite of Omar Abdullah, and then I'll go back to General Sharma. A lot of new visuals have come, photographs have come of the installations that have been destroyed, the terror hubs that have been destroyed in Pakistan.
क्लैशेस दोनों तरफ से नहीं हुई। शुरुआत पहलगाम में हुआ, जहां हमारे 26 बेगुनाह लोग जिस तरह उनको मारा गया वो हम अभी भूले नहीं। उसी वक्त मरकजी हुकूमत ने कहा था कि इसका हम जवाब दे देंगे और अपने तरीके से दे देंगे। जवाब देने का तरीका यही था कि पाकिस्तान में कोई सिविलियन या कोई मिलिट्री जगह नहीं, सिर्फ वो जगह जो सब लोग जानते हैं, वहां यही इदारे काम करते हैं जिन्होंने पिछले 30-35 साल जम्मू कश्मीर में तबाही और बर्बादी फैलाई है, उन्हें निशाना बनाया गया। उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं। लेकिन उसके बाद लगातार कुछ इलाकों में जो पार के तरफ से बमबारी की गई, उसमें तो सीधा सीधा हमारे सिविलियन जो हैं वो टारगेट हुए। शुरुआत वहां से हुई, शुरुआत यहां से नहीं हुई।
So Omar Abdullah is also making the same point. Omar Abdullah is also saying that this started with Pahalgam, but I think the fact that we have been able to link it with 26/11, we have been able to link it with Kasab, and we are also getting news that Azhar Masood's brother may have been killed in this terrorist strike will be a big feat. So General Sharma, what sort of a response should India expect from Pakistan, sir? Now that's what people are looking at. We have done what we wanted to. In artillery shellings, 10 people have died in the Naushera-Rajouri sector, sir, and 38 people have been injured. And the artillery is booming in that sector, sir.
Okay, see, firstly, the word Sindoor being used is not a normal word that Indian armed forces would use it. It doesn't come naturally to us. We would hesitate to, we would use thunderbolt, thunderstorm, all those funny kind of English sounding terminologies. But having said that, let me state here that we are discussing here the response. Khwaja Asif has just come out some time ago with a statement saying that if India does not escalate, then we will not do anything further than that. Now, Khwaja Asif is the defense minister. We know the defense ministers in Pakistan have got little standing in front of the army chief, etc. So how much of the value that we take on him is an issue. However, we must take that the Pakistan army, larger measure, is a rational state and they run the country. For them, the country is important and their own standing in the country is important. And there is naturally nationalism honed up in Pakistan also. So some kind of response is essential for the Pakistan army for the reason that they have to continue in the helm of affairs. They did so against Iran last year. When Iran is like a kith and kin country, Iran, when it hit in Balochistan, they struck back at Sistan, Balochistan in Iran. And anywhere else also, it becomes natural for the Pakistanis to respond back. So having said that, so we must expect a response. Two parts of response here. First part of the story is what has already taken place. So let's count it that the ceasefire is actually dead because there is firing here. The firing took place of artillery yesterday night in the city, in which civilians were killed. Yesterday, 3 initially was announced in J&K, but there may be more. So there is a civilian establishment. Now, the Lieutenant Governor of J&K has ordered that all civilians residing closer to the line of control and the IB sector right up to Kathua to vacate it, and all schools have been closed. So there is a mass evacuation on the Indian side of LOC to protect people from the artillery shelling that will obviously come. We will target the Pakistani artillery, but it can't be totally controlled. And since we have to protect our own villagers, and these, so there will be mass evacuation. Second part of the story is that Pakistan hitting back at infrastructure. If it attempts to hit at our infrastructure, say a dam or say a bridge or something of this kind, it is very greatly escalatory in nature. And Pakistan infrastructure is closer to the borders and it can be hit in any one time. like the Mangala Dam, which is within the artillery range. So, hitting infrastructure, Pakistan has much more to lose than India, which is a very large nation. Now, hitting military establishments, well, that's well nigh possible because we don't have terror camps. So Pakistan can't claim to hit a Murid K in India. He has to hit, since there are no terrorist camps, they have to hit some military targets, which could be military airfields or military cantonments. Well, that's well nigh possible. And, we have to guard against this. And the last issue is that they do nothing. Now, and if you take Khwaja Asif as the face value that they do nothing, well, it's possible that they do nothing. But I agree with what Ambassador Prabhu Dayal has said. There is the theology of 100 cuts, 1,000 cuts. There is also Zulfikar Ali Bhutto saying in the United Nations in 1965 that we will fight a 1,000-year war. Now, 1,000-year war and 1,000 cuts has been on for last 8 decades and significantly for last 35 years. Let's not relent. Let's not allow. We have done retribution, but we have to do some kind of a strategic deterrence, and we have to be prepared for Pakistan's response and the escalation thereof. So actually, this is not the time to discuss whether Pakistan will respond or not respond. This is the time to be prepared for a response from Pakistan in whichever way it is, and to be prepared to respond back if necessary.
No, absolutely. That's a very important point you made, because you cited the example of Pakistan and Iran, kith and kith. There is also a sort of a escalation ladder example in context of Israel and Iran. And there is also an escalation ladder example of Americans and Iran, where Iran's dropped number of missiles on the American bases, and subsequently the Americans didn't respond after they killed Irani general. So in last 2.5, 3 years, there have been 3 international cases when escalation ladder in a controlled way was exercised by both countries. They attacked each other. But in this case, it's different. I mean, so the case of Israel and Iran is different. But in this case, I completely agree with General Sharma, the policy of 1,000 cuts and, terrorists continuously being used to destabilize our country, to create communal problems inside India, to affect our economy. We are 10 times bigger than Pakistan in context of our, not India, Pakistan of 47. We are different. We have a lot of things at stake, but I think he hit it, he was point bang on, that there will be a response. How much we'll absorb it, how much will be a payback, now, then, later, it will need to be seen, because if Pakistan upsets that escalation ladder, then there may be a stronger response.
But I really can't fathom how India has carried these precision strikes in 2 weeks. Really true that Pahalgam is what triggered India to get down to the bottom of these terror hideouts and strike them in 2 weeks' time. Could it have been done earlier? Major Amit Bansal, your take on that? It's just amazing. I have newfound respect for our army today with the kind of images that they've released, showing how graphical images of how terror hideouts were located at these points without breaching Pakistan's airspace, staying within India's boundaries. India has attacked and surgically struck at those terror launch pads. If it was possible, then why not earlier?
See, Nabila, every operation has to be planned in a different way. It has to be planned. You have to see how the enemy is reacting. Intelligence has to be brought in. Your weapon platform have to be selected. The targets will have to be selected. And moreover, most importantly, you have to select a time where the enemy is most unaware. So with that kind of thing, you have to select a time of your choice. Even in Balakot, we took some time. We took about 12 days of planning. And here we took about 2 weeks of planning. So there's nothing wrong in that. And ultimate aim is not to react immediately, not to carry out a knee-jerk reaction, but to hit hard, hit with the precision, and so that the enemy bleeds heavily, and the message is conveyed. So I don't think so that there is any timeline to it. It has to be carried out when we are prepared, and a time and a place and a moment of our choice, not as a knee-jerk reaction.
What Karthikeya said earlier stays with me. Today was supposed to be, and we were all in the newsroom here at News 9 preparing for mock drills, as we've been calling it. But now he says it's no more mock drills, it's war drills.
Yes, these are war drills. These are war drills. So we call them drills because it's being carried out at our level. But this can be mock drills. And as Karthikeya was believe that we have to be ready for a retribution. Pakistan will not stay silent. It is going to hit. because there is a reason to it. See, ever since 1947 Pakistan was formed, the very basis, the very foundation of this country was anti-India rhetoric, and the factor on which the entire Pakistani army is surviving ever since then. See, army has been ruling the country for the last 75 years, and the very fact on which Pakistani army is surviving is the anti-India rhetoric. So if Pakistan does not take any action, nobody will take their army seriously. So in order to prove themselves and to prove that yes, they are the real custodian of Pakistan, they are the real rulers of Pakistan, they will do some kind of face saving, and they'll carry out some kind of attack like they did immediately after Balakot, just to do the face saving and just to create another kind of misinformation campaign and tell their countrymen that yes, they are capable of reacting, they are capable of hitting India back, and they have done their face saving.
Ambassador, do you think that this entire thing that has spun out of control is also a reflection of the way Munir wants to run Pakistan as a state, the way he wants to run Pakistan as an army? Obviously, every terror attack has a political objective if it's planned by the Pakistani army. He must have factored all these things in when the Pakistan army was planning Pahalgam attack.
Well, there certainly is a connection between Asim Munir's thinking and this particular Pahalgam terror attack. Because let us recall the fact that just a week or so before the Pahalgam terror attack, General Munir had delivered a speech in which he had done his very best to divide Hindus and Muslims. He had spelled out a rhetoric how Hindus and Muslims are so different. And the attack itself, the kind of color that it took place where Hindus were identified and then killed, was an attempt to convey to Indian Muslims that they are different from the Hindus who are in India, and that perhaps the Muslims of India are more similar to the people in Pakistan. But that has failed. Look, on the very day that the Pahalgam attack took place, Indian Muslims in Kashmir and the rest of the country came out strongly against that terrorist attack. And in many places, there were demonstrations and there were marches, silent marches, candlelight marches by Muslims.
Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, if this was about religion, there's not one Islamic country that I can possibly think of who's siding with Pakistan today. The Islamic world is against what Pakistan is standing for, against the fact that it's harboring terror. In fact, UAE, Gulf countries have said it openly on many levels that if there's one country or one black spot on the Islamic world right now, it's Pakistan.
It's true. But what I'm trying to say is that General Asim Munir tried to divide India into Muslims and non-Muslims.
Correct.
That failed because the Muslims of India strongly demonstrated and sent out a message that they condemn the terrorist attack which took place in Pahalgam. Moreover, let me also mention that today's press briefing, where Foreign Secretary Mr. Vikram Misri led from the front, his two colleagues in that press briefing were ladies, one from the Air Force, one from the Army, one a Muslim and one a Hindu, sending across a clear message that India is one, India is united. And it's very essential that at this difficult time, India sends across messages all across the world that we are united, that we are one country. We are not divided politically. And it's very, very significant that political parties have come forward in support of the strike against the terrorist camps. No politician has spoken against it. So India is united. India refuses to be divided on religious grounds. Muslims and Hindus are together. It is one country. We are both part of it. All religions are part of India. We are not discriminating against anybody.
Okay.
And the fact of the matter is that we stand together against terrorism.
Okay, Aditya also joins me. Aditya, the news is pouring in that, extended terror family of Azhar Masood were also killed in action. They were killed there in the strike. Can you just take us through, give us more details?
Well, yes. Kartikeya, I can confirm that there's been an attack on the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Maulana Masood Azhar's house in Bahawalpur. And in that attack, family members of Masood Azhar have been killed. This is a big development that we are breaking here. I've also spoken to some of the locals out there in Bahawalpur who are close to the Pakistani establishment. They also confirmed the development. In fact, they put the number to 14, that 14 casualties have happened inside the house of Maulana Masood Azhar in Bahawalpur. Whether Masood Azhar was present there, whether he has been killed or not, is not clear at this moment, but certainly it's a big development coming in at this hour. Apart from that, the DG ISPR of the Pakistan Army has confirmed that 26 people have been killed and 47 others have been injured in the Indian attacks. The real numbers could be much more if the DG ISPR is putting it at 26 killed and 47 injured. So as of now, these are massive attacks that have taken place. Obviously, you saw the press conference, you saw the messaging from India, 2 female officers of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force, a Kashmiri Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri coming out, all of them Indians first, and standing by the Indian security forces and the armed forces and giving a very strong response to Pakistan. Apart from that, another important tool of messaging, the initial 2-minute clip that was played out, a very emotionally powerful clip of how India has been the worst victim of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, from Parliament attack to Mumbai 26/11, from Pathankot to Pulwama to finally Pahalgam taking place. But India is not the India of that time, but India will certainly respond and has avenged the killing of the 26 civilians in Pahalgam. So we are waiting for how Pakistan will react. Apart from the retaliation that has happened till now, there's heavy gunfire and artillery fire that's happening across the line of control between India and Pakistan in the Mender sector. In Punch, there are 10 casualties that have been reported as of now. And apart from that, we have been told that another 40 people are injured. So there is heavy firing that's happening all across the LOC, and there is likely escalation that could happen across the LOC, where Pakistan is completely breaking the ceasefire, violating the ceasefire, does not care. The first response of Pakistan after the attacks was to target the civilians and destroy homes of Kashmiris and people of Jammu and Kashmir. It has also attacked the UN field office in Punch. That's what the visuals say. So it hasn't spared anyone. Civilians, Kashmiris, the UN diplomats and military officers out there, everyone is under the attack of Pakistan Army in Jammu and Kashmir. We have to wait and watch how things unfold, because this time it's not just attack in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but in Sialkot and Bahawalpur also, which are the epicenters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. And we saw the visual proof. One was the visual proof that came in yesterday from locals, Pakistanis putting out videos on social media, and now is the proof of Indian Air Force coming out with videos from the fighter jets of dropping those munitions, dropping those missiles on the targets. A very strong response of India against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. India is prepared for any kind of a retaliation if anything happens, if Pakistan indulges in any kind of a misadventure. Mind you, I've spoken to top,
very few people recall that the NOTAM was issued yesterday. There's a major Indian Air Force exercise that will take place today and tomorrow. People thought that it's demonstration of some strength, but perhaps this was decided in advance. This entire exercise will start. I think it was supposed to start after 9:30 or 10 a.m.
Do you believe it was a trick?
No, I think it's a defensive posture. The entire apparatus is on high alert. General Sharma wants to come in, and then I'll go to Aditya. General Sharma, okay, tell me.
It was a diversionary tactic.
Right, it was a trick. You're trying to say that there are drills and that's going to happen. Whatever happens will happen after drills, but it happened before.
General Sharma?
I think I go with Nabila on this one, saying that this was a deception, a very well-planned deception, to say a NOTAM was issued for an exercise. But when you follow it through, one could read into it saying that NOTAM was issued, and all the landing of aircraft coming from Gulf, etc., to Amritsar were denied and shifted to Delhi. If one wants to now, in retrospective, like post-historians do, if you read into it, it was probably a clear indication that tonight was a night when they were going to hit. And I will take it that this was preparatory to this whole thing. And then today's 4 o'clock, all this action that has been taken across for mock drills was also another trick to say mock drills are being done on 7th. So whatever is going to happen is after 7th. I think we have matured as a nation to undertake professional deception and surprise, and I think that also adds to our importance in the whole game of warfare.
Game of warfare, absolutely, whole game of warfare. Aditya, I think we have lost the.
I just want to know, Karthikeya, also to you, do you think the drills will still happen with the same intensity today? Is that what you foresee?
I think the drills will
it's
happen.
all on point.
I think the drills, the district identified 244, if I'm not wrong, Aditya. I think the drills will go on today. Those 244 A-marked districts.
I can tell you, I can confirm to you, Karthikeya, that mock drills have been cancelled in Jammu and Kashmir so far, and in some bordering areas. But otherwise, in more than 200 districts, the mock drills will happen as usual, as per schedule.
Mock drills will happen. But what are your intelligence sources saying? You know, LOC going hot can also be their diversionary tactic, Pakistan, if I may reverse the logic?
Well, certainly. You know, if you see the threats that have been coming in from the Pakistani side, it's amply clear. They've said that whatever India does, we will go a notch higher than that. So artillery fire isn't going notch fire. But that's why we'll have to be very careful in the next 48 to 72 hours. I think we'll don't have to even wait that further. Pakistan is known to act pretty fast in such cases. So I think in the next 12 to 24 hours, there could be some action from the Pakistani side. Because imagine this, Asim Munir is a different kind of a personality. He's a jihadist. He's an Islamist radical in army uniform. So you'll have to see that to cool the temper in Pakistan, to save the embarrassment that's been happening, to save the humiliation that has already happened, not just domestically but in the international media and community, he will have to show some kind of a strength. So we'll have to wait and watch what he does, whether he succumbs under international pressure that is already there, or he again provokes India, kills civilians, and that could lead to further confrontation, I can tell you, because there are plans that have been done. There is wargaming that has been done. And I can't name it, but I know that there are plans which are far, far worse that India has already planned out. And if Pakistan indulges its misadventure, it would regret. And history would be testament to that fact that Pakistan would be expecting an attack in X area, and the attack would happen in a Z area where they are not prepared and not prepared for the kind of attack that is going to happen. So clearly, as of now, the Indian government, the national security apparatus is closely monitoring the situation. I've been speaking to people in the National Security Council as well. They've been monitoring situation very closely, trying to pick up chatter from the Pakistani side at what could be planned, what could be the next action. But DG ISPR has certainly said that they will attack and they will take revenge at a time and place of their choosing. So certainly we should expect something from the Pakistan Army side, perhaps in the next, if not today, then tomorrow.
Ambassador Dayal, how should India factor in China and Bangladesh?
Well, India is very careful in regard to factoring in all negative forces. Both China and Bangladesh have a very negative position vis-a-vis India. China is perpetually mischievous. And although it has tried to send out a signal that, India must restrain, etc., the fact is, China has never exercised restraint. We can never forget Galwan. So when it wants to hurt India, it doesn't stop from doing so. Bangladesh, of course, has now become another hotbed of anti-India activity, and there is a need for us to be on high alert. So the Indian Army and all our defense forces are fully vigilant. And I will take off from what Aditya Raj Kaul himself said, something about preparedness. If you want peace, you have to be prepared for war. And our preparedness on all fronts, whether it is China or whether it is Bangladesh, and of course, where Pakistan is concerned, will be high. The level of preparedness will be high, because any sort of danger can take place, any sort of attack or any sort of negative activity. So India is on high alert, and I would say that just another 48, 72 hours. It could be for a much, much longer period. But nonetheless, the only way to ensure that we are able to take care of any attack on us
Ambassador, if I may,
highly prepared.
Tell me, is this the correct way to interpret Operation Sindoor? That Operation Sindoor seeks to show that India no longer accepts that there's a fundamental distinction between sub-conventional, which is terrorism, and conventional, which is military aggression, which Pakistan has traditionally exploited. Is this a correct way to understand that? We don't distinguish between both of them now?
Well, I have been very categorical in saying on your channel, on a whole host of other channels, also in whatever I have written, that there is a great connectivity between the Pakistan military establishment and the terrorist cells in that country. In fact, Pakistan uses covert operations against India, and these covert operations are carried out by these terrorist cells who are trained, funded, and armed by the Pakistan military establishment, particularly the ISI, and are infiltrated into India. So this connection between the Pakistan army and the terrorist cells is very, very clear. There is no doubt about that connection. And whether this will end easily, I have doubts, because this sort of terrorist activity is in the genes now of the Pakistan military establishment. And every succeeding general has done something or the other which shows that their belief in terrorism as a weapon of state policy, as an instrument of state policy, remains unchanged.
Okay. And General Sabha, is it correct to say that there has been a general rise in the level of escalation by India going forward from 2001, and Operation Sindoor proves that? If you compare all previous escalation last 20 years, this has been the highest.
So, I'm not very sure. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
come to you, Ambassador
So-
Dayal. Yeah.
Yeah, so I firstly want to say is that we have recognized that there is something called hybrid warfare. You know, it's been spoken of for quite some time. The hybridity of warfare shows that there is irregular warfare and regular warfare have now got intertwined together. So what happens is what we call gray zone, and what happens in conventional war has been amalgamated into a hybrid warfare, which needs multi-domainal expertise. And I think we are moving to that end, and we compliment ourselves that we are keeping abreast with what's happening across in the world, and abreast with what Pakistanis are doing. So that, I think, is a larger perspective of understanding what's been carried out yesterday using conventional weapons against irregular forces, and that would make a tremendous amount of change. I would you repeat your question again, sir? I missed it.
My question was that this is the highest level of escalation. Gradually, India is increasing the pitch of escalation.
I'm not very sure. You see, when you start considering what we did in Op Prakram, which was a coercive diplomacy of a kind where the entire armed forces were mobilized in 2001 after the parliamentary attack, it was very high nature, and for 10 months we were at a wit's end that the war might start, including in Kaluchak, which happened in May. So it was in fact one very major exercise. What we did in 2008 was mostly diplomacy. But actually, after Balakot and after the surgical strikes, it was evident that, the level of terrorism in J&K did not wane. It continued. Last year, there were 127 people killed in J&K. So which actually gives a rise to the fact that it was not peaceful. In 2001, we had 4,000 people killed. It had dropped down to 127 last year. So, it is dropping down. But Pakistan was not mending its ways of supporting terror. Especially what happened last year south of Pir Panjal, when a number of incidents took place in those areas which are Hindu dominated in the Jammu belt and towards Kishtwar and Doda. So they were escalating on a different front. Naturally, since the surgical strike and Balakot were insufficient to deter Pakistan, and this time there were thought process that do we need only retribution, or do we need a strategic deterrence for a long time? And I think wisdom prevailed, which said that only retribution will not help. We know Pakistan may continue into this line that they are doing now, but we need to create some kind of an operation which give you a base of having a strategic deterrence being created, so that next time they will be wiser before undertaking an operation like this. So it's not a question of escalation. It's a question of judgment. It's a question of analysis after each event and coming out to right answers. And I would take it that each juncture, what happened in 2001 was the maturity of the political military establishment in 2001. What happened in 2025 is the political military establishment's maturity today. One must not tally issues and say there is escalation or de-escalation into the whole thing.
Okay, Ambassador Dayal, you wanted to come in. You had raised your hand, sir.
Karthike, I object to the term escalation by India. India is not escalating, India is retaliating. There is a fundamental difference between escalating something and retaliating against something. What India has done was in retaliation for the Pahalgam terror attack. Nabila was very right that it showed that there is a high level of preparedness. Yes, India has been prepared for a long time that if the need arises, it will strike against Pakistan for its terrorist activities. But India is not at all keen to escalate. In fact, India stands on the side of peace, and had this terrorist attack not taken place, the need for retaliation
maybe a wrong word was used. Ambassador,
So
maybe the wrong word was used.
categorically.
Maybe
India
a
is
wrong
not
word, but what I
escalating,
meant
India
was,
is retaliating.
sir, maybe a wrong word, but the whole intention was demonstration of force. That demonstration of force. That will be very, very
Don't
strong.
use the term escalation. It is wrong. It puts a totally wrong picture on what India is doing.
Demonstration of force.
Right. You
Is
know,
that correct,
I do like to get Ambassador Prabhu on this, on how and why do we believe that this war can transcend borders into cities like Delhi and Mumbai. That's been an alert that's been sounded in a way by these large-scale nationwide civil defense drills. It almost suggests that this war could very well pass through our, permeate through our borders into cities like Delhi and Mumbai.
Well, that is a question which General Rakesh Sharma is in a better position to
Yes,
answer.
yeah, he actually
It
raised
is a
his
question
hand.
for a military person.
He did raise his hand.
As far as diplomats are concerned, our job is to try and see that the nations of the world put pressure on Pakistan not to escalate the conflict.
Certainly.
We are there to try and manage the situation in that context. Whether Pakistan strikes cities all over India, far away from the international border, is for the army generals to assess. And I think General Rakesh Sharma is in a better position.
Right. General Sharma, please.
Okay, Nabila, my view is that I think we did solid judgmental issue in not mobilizing the armed forces, not cancelling leave, not starting pre-dumping of ammunition and rations and stores along the borders. See, when the armies move, they have to mobilize. So our army is located into hinterland, peace station in Bihar, in Madhya Pradesh, in South India. Those formations have not moved at all, which are essential to carry out operation. So no mass mobilization has been ordered. There has been no mass dumping of ammunition and logistics closest to border, which indicates a conventional war of the conventional kind. So, this semblance is not only for Pakistan, it's also for international audiences, which I'm sure the diplomacy will be pursuing. Look, we have not mobilized. We are not wanting an all-out war. So, to say, if Pakistans want to escalate across to our own hinterland, well, that's an invitation for a conventional war which we can mobilize to. So the fact of the matter is that there is right from beginning an effort made at the politico-military level, in fact, more at a politico-diplomatic level, to show that there is an escalation dominance. There is an escalation control being exercised while we are indicating this operation that we carried out specifically against counter-terrorist targets or terrorist targets. So, the fact of the matter is that, a missile can hit anywhere in India. They tested a missile day for yesterday, Abdali, which is 450 kilometers range. It can hit anywhere else. So I will say that you can count on hitting anywhere else. But I doubt it will happen because of the indications that we have provided at political level.
Okay, Ambassador, before I let go of you, again, go back to Operation Sindoor. Sir, does it also tell us that Operation Sindoor diminishes Pakistan's ability to hide behind the so-called lack of conclusive evidence to show that the Pak state's complicity in terror attacks against India? The argument is that if there is a terrorist attack which is taking place, and if you have not worked on it, the state is complicit, and India has the right to take action.
To put it in a nutshell, Operation Sindoor conveys the message that India has zero tolerance towards terrorism. That is the message which has been sent across, not just to Pakistan, but to all countries of the world, that we have taken this action because it was necessary to punish the perpetrators of the terror attack in Pahalgam, and that we will continue to have this policy, zero tolerance for terrorism.
Thank you both of you gentlemen for joining our show. But this is a rolling coverage. Let me toss to the bite of two women who addressed the media today.
Yeah, in fact, I'm very overwhelmed looking at those images, and this is my India, and I'm so proud to see that in this time of grief, India has come together to show its resolve as one unit. No religious divide. It's come together as one unit, and the two women are very, very symbolic who've come forward. In fact, if we could show those images of the press conference, as I cut through to what Colonel Sophia Qureshi and our wing commander has said, speaking about the Operation Sindoor. Let's have a listen.
मैं कर्नल सोफिया कुरैशी और मेरे साथ विंग कमांडर व्योमिका सिंह आज आपको 6 से 7 मई 2025 की रात 1:05 से 1:30 बजे के बीच भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों द्वारा अंजाम दिए गए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बारे में जानकारी देंगे। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम में हुए विभत्स आतंकवादी हमले के शिकार मासूम नागरिकों व उनके परिवारों को न्याय देने के लिए लॉन्च किया गया था। इस कार्रवाई में 9 टेररिस्ट कैंप्स को टारगेट किया गया और पूरी तरह से इसे बर्बाद किया गया। पाकिस्तान में पिछले 3 दशकों से टेरर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का निर्माण हो रहा है। इसमें रिक्रूटमेंट, इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन सेंटर्स, ट्रेनिंग एरियाज व लॉन्च पैड शामिल थे, जो पाकिस्तान और पाक अधिकृत जम्मू कश्मीर POJK दोनों में फैले हैं।
Operation Sindoor was launched by Indian Armed Forces to deliver justice to the victims of Pahalgam terror attack and their families. 9 terrorist camps were targeted and successfully destroyed. Over the last 3 decades, Pakistan has systematically built terror infrastructure. It is a complex web of recruitment and indoctrination centers, training areas for initial and refresher courses, and launch pads for handlers. These camps are located both in Pakistan as well as Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir areas. Some of the well-known training camps are located, as you can see on the screen. They are distributed from Savai Nala in the north, counting to approximately 21, ending at Bhagalpur to the south.
इन लक्ष्यों का चयन विश्वसनीय इंटेलिजेंस सूचनाओं के आधार पर हुआ ताकि आतंक गतिविधियों की रीढ़ तोड़ी जा सके, और यह खास ध्यान दिया गया कि निर्दोष नागरिकों और सिविलियन इंस्टॉलेशन को नुकसान न पहुंचे।
The selection of these targets for Operation Sindoor was based on credible intelligence inputs and in perpetrating the terror activities. The locations were so selected to avoid damage to civilian infrastructures and loss of any civilian lives. This was done with due diligence, and the camps selected for targeting and their engagement will now be shown to you one by one.
सबसे पहले सवाई नाला कैंप मुजफ्फराबाद, जो कि POJK के लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल से 30 किलोमीटर दूर है। यह एक लश्कर तौयबा का ट्रेनिंग सेंटर था। 20 अक्टूबर 2024 सोनमर्ग, 24 अक्टूबर 24 गुलमर्ग, 22 अप्रैल 2025 पहलगाम, इन हमलों के आतंकियों ने यहीं से प्रशिक्षण लिया था। सैयदना बिलाल कैंप मुजफ्फराबाद, यह एक जैश मोहम्मद का स्टेजिंग एरिया है। यह हथियार, विस्फोटक और जंगल सर्वाइवल ट्रेनिंग का केंद्र भी था। गुलपुर कैंप कोटली, यह LOC से 30 किलोमीटर दूर था। लश्कर तौयबा का बेस था, जो रजौरी, पुंछ में सक्रिय था। 20 अप्रैल 2023 को पुंछ में और 9 जून 2024 को तीर्थ यात्रियों के बस हमले में यहीं से आतंकी को ट्रेन किया गया था। बरनाला कैंप बिंबर, ये एलओसी से 9 किलोमीटर दूर है। यहां पर हथियार हैंडलिंग, आईईडी व जंगल सर्वाइवल का प्रशिक्षण केंद्र था। अब्बास कैंप कोटली, यह एलओसी से 13 किलोमीटर दूर है। लश्कर तौयबा का फिदाइन यहां तैयार होता था। इसकी कैपेसिटी 15 टेररिस्ट को ट्रेन करने की थी। अब मैं पाकिस्तान के अंदर के टारगेट से अवगत कराना चाहूंगी। पहला, सर्जल कैंप सियालकोट। यह अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा से 6 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर है, सांबा कठवा के सामने। मार्च 2025 में जम्मू एंड कश्मीर पुलिस के 4 जवानों को की जो हत्या की गई थी, उन आतंकवादियों को इसी जगह पर ट्रेन किया गया था। दूसरा, महमूना जाया कैंप सियालकोट। यह 18 से 12 किलोमीटर आईबी से दूर था। हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन का बहुत बड़ा कैंप था। यह कठुआ जम्मू क्षेत्र में आतंक फैलाने का नियंत्रण केंद्र था। पठानकोट एयरफोर्स बेस पर किया गया हमला भी इसी कैंप से प्लान और डायरेक्ट किया गया था। मरकज ताइबा मुरीद के, यह आईबी से 18 से 25 किलोमीटर दूरी पर है। 2008 के मुंबई हमले के आतंकी भी यहीं से प्रशिक्षित हुए थे। अजमल कसब व डेविड हेडली भी यहां ट्रेन हुए थे।
आगे दूसरा आया। टारगेट 10 हुआ, एंक्लोजर सेम ही है। 7 इट इज हिट द टारगेट। हाँ हाँ। आ गया सर, इम्पैक्ट
मरकज सुभान अल्लाह भावलपुर, ये इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्री से 100 किलोमीटर दूर है। जैश ए मोहम्मद का मुख्यालय था। यहां पर रिक्रूटमेंट, ट्रेनिंग व इंडॉक्ट्रिनेशन का केंद्र भी था। शीर्ष आतंकी अक्सर यहां आते थे। मैं आप सबको बताना चाहती हूं कि किसी भी सैन्य ठिकाने का निशाना नहीं बनाया गया और अभी तक किसी तरह की नागरिक क्षति की रिपोर्ट नहीं है। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
The strike on the terror camps were undertaken through precision capability, as shown to you. A niche technology weapons with careful selection of warheads was ensured so that there will be no collateral damage. The point of impact in each of the target was a specific building or a group of buildings. All the targets were neutralized with clinical efficiency, and the results reiterate the professionalism of the Indian Armed Forces in the planning and execution of their operations. No military establishments were targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in its response. However, it must be said that the Indian armed forces are fully prepared to respond to Pakistani misadventures, if any, that will escalate this situation. Jai Hind, and thank you very much.
You are watching News 9's rolling coverage of India's Operation Sindoor. Hello and welcome. I am Krishna Kumar.
I'm Shweta Kothari, and we continue to bring you all the latest details as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned.
Operation Sindoor is a response to what happened on that fateful day on the 22nd of April, where terrorists claimed many innocent lives, 26 of them. Many children were left without fathers, many wives without their husbands, snatching away the happiness of families who went to enjoy a vacation, completely unaware of what's next for them. India said, we will not let the blood and water flow together. There will be an answer, there will be a lesson for Pakistan this time. India has now finally delivered that lesson. We've taught them the lesson with Operation Sindoor. India struck back with Operation Sindoor in response to the dastardly Pahalgam terror attack. India's armed forces carried out precision strikes at 1:44 a.m. targeting terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Precision strikes targeted 9 terror-linked sites in Kotli, Bahawalpur, Muzaffarabad and Muridke. Strongholds of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba have been hit. Pakistan Army itself has confirmed that at least 8 civilians are dead and 33 injured in a total of 24 strikes carried out by India's armed forces. Heavy shellings have been reported along the line of control in Uri and Kupwara. Government sources say Prime Minister Modi is monitoring the situation and has been monitoring Operation Sindoor all through the night. Sources say India has briefed partner states including Russia over Operation Sindoor. It has also informed the US, the UK, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Jammu, Srinagar and Dharamshala and Amritsar airports have been closed for civilian operations. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, Lahore and Sialkot airports have been closed for the next 48 hours. Total blackout has been reported in some sectors of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir by locals. Pakistan administration has cut off electricity, that's what we understand. Prime Minister Modi has chaired a CCS meeting, or a Cabinet Committee on Security meeting at 11 a.m. and the Indian Army has already briefed the media. Muridke in Pakistan's Punjab, which is home to the headquarters of the Lashkar-e-Taiba and is known as the terror nursery of Pakistan, was one of the targets. Hafiz Saeed, the terror outfit, is believed to be behind the April 22nd attacks in Baisaran, and we are continuing to get you all the latest, including the official word from the government, isn't it, Shweta?
The official word from the government so far, Krishna, continues to be that it was a measured response. This was a non-escalatory, proportionate and a responsible response from India's side. We heard, in a press briefing, we heard Foreign Secretary earlier today. We also heard Wing Commander Vyomika Singh as well as Colonel Sophia Qureshi. Let's quickly listen into what the Foreign Secretary said while addressing the media earlier today.
As you are all aware, on April 22, 2025, Pakistani and Pakistan-trained terrorists belonging to the Lashkar-e-Taiba carried out a savage attack on Indian tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir in India. They murdered 26 people, including one national of Nepal, causing the largest number of civilian casualties in a terrorist attack in India since the 26 November 2008 attacks in Mumbai. The attack in Pahalgam was marked by extreme barbarity, with the victims mostly killed with headshots from close range and in front of their families. Family members were deliberately traumatized through the manner of the killing, accompanied by the exhortation that they should take back the message. The attack was clearly driven by the objective of undermining the normalcy returning to Jammu
and near the south pole of moon. Our journey has been remarkable. Our rockets carry more than payloads. They carry the dreams of 1.4 billion Indians. India's achievements are significant scientific milestones. Beyond that, they are proof that the human spirit can defy gravity. India made history by reaching Mars on its first attempt in 2014. Chandrayaan-1 helped discover water on the moon. Chandrayaan-2 gave us the highest resolution images of the moon. Chandrayaan-3 increased our understanding of the lunar south pole. We built cryogenic engines in a record time. We launched 100 satellites in a single mission. We have launched over 400 satellites for 34 nations on our launch vehicles. This year, we docked 2 satellites in space, a major step forward. Friends, India's space journey is not about racing others. It is about reaching higher together. Together, we share a common goal to explore space for the good of humanity. We launch a satellite for the South Asian nations. Now, the G20 satellite mission announced during our presidency will be a gift to the global South. We continue to march ahead with renewed confidence, pushing the boundaries of scientific exploration. Our first human space flight mission, Gaganyaan, highlights our nation's rising aspirations. In coming weeks, an Indian astronaut will travel to space as part of a joint ISRO-NASA mission to the International Space Stations. By 2035, the Bharatiya Antariksh Station will open new frontiers in research and global cooperation. By 2040, an Indian's footprints will be on the moon. Mars and Venus are also on our radar. Friends, for India, space is about exploration as well as about empowerment. It empowers governance, enhances livelihoods, and inspires generations. From fishermen alerts to Gati Shakti platform, from railway safety to weather forecasting, our satellites look out for the welfare of every Indian. We have opened our space sector to startups, entrepreneurs, and young minds. Today, India has over 250 space startups. They are contributing to cutting-edge advancements in satellite technology, propulsion systems, imaging, and much more. And you know, it is even more inspiring that many of our missions are being led by women scientists. Friends, India's space vision is grounded in the ancient wisdom of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That is, the world is one family. We strive not just for our own growth, but to enrich global knowledge, address common challenges, and inspire future generations. India stands for dreaming together, building together, and reaching for the stars together. Let us together write a new chapter in space exploration, guided by science and shared dreams for a better tomorrow. I wish you all a very pleasant and productive stay in India. Thank you.
That was the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, speaking about India's space ambitions going forward. By 2040, he said that India will land its footprints on the moon. He's talking about the manned space mission, Gaganyaan as well. But we are continuing with our coverage here of Operation Sindoor. 25 minutes that shook Pakistan. A response to the Pahalgam terror attack. Terrorist Masood Azhar's family has been killed in Operation Sindoor. That's the latest news that's breaking here. We're getting to you in this rolling coverage. We have some very special guests joining us. We have Ambassador Jayan Das Gupta, former ambassador to WTO. We have Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director, India Foundation. We have Dr. P.K. Mishra, former ADG, BSF, joining us. So thank you for being with us on this broadcast on this day. I'm going to begin by asking Ambassador Jayan, expected of India and possibly the beginning of India's actions, India's strike against terror after what happened in Pahalgam.
This is indeed, this was expected, something on these lines, but the date, the time and the method in which India has taken kinetic action, that was unpredictable. And I think the deception that accompanied it about the mock drill in Jammu and Kashmir and the mock drill which is scheduled to take place later today, put the Pakistani, I think, deep state in a sense of complacency that the Indians are scared and they are not going to retaliate soon. So that was of a piece with what the armed forces carried out in complete secrecy and in a very effective manner. The second point I wanted to make is that India has made it very clear that this is non-escalative. And that carries a lot of meaning, because as long as Pakistan does not retaliate, this is a one-off thing and it will end there. But should Pakistan retaliate, and Pakistan has limited choices because we did not attack any Pakistan army or armed forces establishment. What we did was we dismantled some of their terror infrastructure. So Pakistan, if it wants to retaliate, which it, I'm sure there are apprehensions that it will, it can't retaliate against Indian terror infrastructure because we have none.
Absolutely. So very few limited choice there, Ambassador, with Pakistan as to where and how it will retaliate. Let me quickly get in Major General Dhruv Katoch, who's also with us. Major General, the latest that we are getting is that Masood Azhar's family, as many as 14 family members have died. And this is exactly what India intended. It intended to attack those terrorist camps, those locations where Masood Azhar, more importantly in Bawalpur, where his family resided, his family trained, along with him an entire coterie of journalists. And on your screens right now, that precision military grade attack. I have to ask you, Major General, this looks like on its face a victory for India.
Oh, absolutely. But I think, the way I've looked at it is, I'm not so much, targeting the specific terrorists. That, of course, has been done brilliantly well. But I think the message goes far deeper than a simple target of terrorists. It has shown three things. One, it has shown the political will of the country. And I think that is very important in any counter-terrorism effort. Number two, it has shown military capability, the manner in which precision attacks have been carried out and the targets have been eliminated. And number three, I think, which is equally important, is it has shown the national will. Now, when we take a combination of these three, if we continue on this line, then we achieve deterrence. As of now, I'm not very sanguine that Pakistan will not react. Pakistan will react. There is going to be escalation and it is up to Pakistan now to see what level they want to go. Because any escalation which they do, the retaliation from the Indian side will be far, far more. So if Pakistan wishes to go up the escalatory ladder, their punishment is going to be immense. We will see as to how that goes, but in my view, it is just phase one. Many more phases have to come, and they will include, besides the military option, there will be the economic, the political, the diplomatic, all those offences will go on simultaneously. But in the military option, this is phase one.
Okay, this is phase one. Fair enough. We also have Dr. P.K. Mishra, former ADG of the BSF. Dr. Mishra, if it is phase one, it's a massive phase one because we're getting the latest that Masood Azhar, dreaded terrorist Masood Azhar of Jaish-e-Mohammed, and his entire family has been killed in these strikes.
Yes, there is a statement by Masood Azhar himself. Ye Allah mere ko bhi maut de do. This clearly shows this only gentleman is alive. I tell him now a gentleman because he is asking Allah mere ko le jao. So now his 14 members have gone, and more will go from Jaish-e-Mohammed. Enough is enough. I am very sure General Munir will not keep quiet to save his face. And after this meeting was held in Mr. Saba's office, definitely Pakistan Army and Pakistan Air Force will retaliate. And we know more or less the targets where they will be retaliating. It's not that difficult to find out. But we invite Pakistan's Air Force and we invite Pakistan Army to retaliate and respond. That is what we want. So that they will be given a befitting reply, because India has not attacked any of their defense installations or any corporate or any offices of Pakistan government. But from last 200 hours, the way they were firing by artillery, they have killed about 10 of our civilians and 40 were injured in Nowshera and Bimbar Gully and those areas by artillery shell firing by Pakistan. But I'm
Dr.
very
P.K.,
sure.
there's a mindless killing there, mindless killing on part of Pakistan. It could not retaliate to the precision attacks that India made, so ended up killing people, innocent civilians on border, which is a usual tactic we've seen from Pakistan in the last many, many decades. Let me also quickly get in Squadron Leader Deepthi Kala, who's joining us. Squadron Leader, a lot of information there which is coming from the government on the attacks that were carried out from India, targeted attacks that were carried out from India, but not much is known what happened operationally. We know this to be a forces response. We know that Navy, Air Force and Army, all three forces were involved. Could you help us understand what sort of dichotomy went behind and how were these forces working in tandem to carry out an attack like this?
Yeah. So Shweta, see, of course, all these attacks happen in between the tri-services. Coordination happens, and there's a lot of one part which is very important for us to understand is that the entire country was kept in a thinking mode that we probably are looking at the drills, mock drills and everything that is going to happen in the country. In fact, yesterday itself, I got so many calls and messages that are we safe? And there was only one message that I sent them, that you are in the hands of the Indian military services. You are 100% safe. Though, it's been 5 years that I've left the military, but I'm telling you with the same josh that we are absolutely safe. Now, coming back to the tri-services coordination. See, all this information, everything happens basically on the information level. So all the tri-services level, we work on the satellite imagery also, so that our missiles hit the target with very precision, right? Because ultimately our agenda is that we are not Pakistan. We don't want to kill the innocent people. So we are only targeting the terrorism, right? Our fight is against the terrorism. So the human intelligence, the satellite intelligence, all the intelligence from tri-services play a very important role, and then the airstrikes, the ground level, and the people behind the strikes, they keep a full eye so that the Operation Sindoor gets fulfilled, and that is what has happened. So there is a close coordination. All the I worked with the satellite imagery while I was in the Indian Air Force, and I've seen it on ground level that how we track each and every point, how we track the smallest of the hints that are happening on the border and our target areas. All this information we track down from the satellite and we give it to the government, and all the chiefs they meet, and then the operations are strategized, and that's how all these operations are being carried out on the border for an absolute 100% success.
Krishna, I mean, look at that, the amount of planning that went behind that attack.
Right.
And we saw some of those pictures that were shared earlier today in the press conference. And what really amazed me was the precision with which they were carried out. India made it very clear, we did not target civilians, we did not target military installation. So this doesn't amount to war. This is India's right to defend itself, and that's exactly what we've done.
Right, and more importantly, you're talking about targets in both Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, 9 targets over there, and all of them are terror organizations' bases where training has taken place, from where terrorists have come and attacked Indians time and again.
And we furnished proof of it, I think, in that press conference, which was also important. Ambassador,
very important that you mentioned that.
Absolutely. Ambassador Ajay Das Gupta, we furnished proof of every time one of those bases, including the Savai Nala, the Gulpur, Barnala, Abbas camp, Sarjal, I mean, you name it, all those 9 camps that we targeted, all of them have been time and again responsible for training, aiding, preparing terrorists. And so in a way, this was an attack for India to defend itself, because there was no demonstrable step taken by Pakistan, which is what Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, also said. He said that despite furnishing proof time and again, Pakistan does not seem to care enough. They go out in public, in foreign media, they talk about how they have funded terrorists for the US, for Western countries. But despite all of that, in the last 1 week or so, absolutely no step taken by Pakistan to really show that they are moving in the right direction. And so therefore, India had the right to defend itself.
Well, the terror organization is a strong branch of the Pakistan army, of its doctrine of using so-called non-state actors and asymmetry in warfare, because they can't take on India in a conventional war. So it is as much a part and parcel of the Pakistan army as it is. So to expect the Pakistan deep state or the Pakistani government to take action against these terrorist organizations, I think would be expecting too much. Murid-ke, where Lashkar-e-Taiba has been carrying out its activities, including jihadi training facilities, etc., and Bahawalpur, which was also there. All these in Pakistan, they have been doing it brazenly, and Hafiz Saeed, who's the head of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, is a terrorist, declared terrorist by the UN organization, with a huge, reward on his head. He's in fact, there was a news item recently that one of the lieutenant generals, he went and met in Murid-ke, in the headquarters, Hafiz al-Said. So, to expect Pakistan to take action against its own, root and branch, I think would be expecting too much. So this is of a piece. India is well within its rights. It has given enough warnings. It has asked Pakistan. It has also exhorted Pakistan to curb and rein in its terrorists, not to send them across the border. And it has also appealed to the international community that this is what Pakistan is doing. So we reserve our right to retaliate of a time, place, and method of our choosing.
Stay with us. Let's then quickly listen in to what Prime Minister Modi had to say right after those Pahalgam terror attacks.
India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth. India's spirit will never be broken by terrorism. Terrorism will not go unpunished.
That was the Prime Minister speaking on the 24th of April, just about 48 hours after the Pahalgam terror attack. Let me take this back to Squadron Leader Deepti Kala. That was the message, that was the promise. And in that sense, this is the beginning of things to come, because what these terror camps that have been struck, they've been operating for decades. Bahawalpur is where Jaish-e-Mohammed's Masood Azhar was born and raised in those terror camps, and they've produced terrorist after terrorist. So clearly, India has just made a beginning when it comes to giving it back to Pakistan for the Pahalgam terror attack. In fact, for all the terror attacks so far that we should have proportionally responded to, like the way we are doing right now with the Operation Sindoor.
Absolutely, Krishna. In fact, I would, the day we had heard our Prime Minister about this speech, we as military officers, ex-military officers, we were very sure that there's something very big is going to come. We were very 100% sure about it, and the kind of response we've given. And I absolutely agree to sir that it is only a phase one. I'm 100% sure we are not going to stop at this, because the kind of heinous task that has been done by the terrorists, this is absolutely non-negotiable, non-forgivable. We just cannot forget and forgive these people. Now, when it comes to capabilities also, Krishna, let us understand that how beautiful the system is. The terrorist can only attack through a certain area and with certain ammunition. But they don't understand, these idiots don't understand that we are a country and we are one of the largest democratic country, and the will power that we carry, like even if the country only decides, we'll destroy the entire Pakistan, right? It's only about the military operations right now we are talking. Now we as a defense, as a reply to what they have done, we can launch our air strikes, we can launch our navy strikes, we can launch our military strikes, we can bloody do any damn thing to them, but they have very limited access to us. So these idiots could not understand that part, and now they will get into what they had not even thought in their dreams, that this is something that India could reply to them. So this is, I'm absolutely waiting for another surprise to happen. And this is a very befitting reply that we have given to the terrorists.
All right, Dr. P.K. Misra, do you agree there with Squadron Leader? This was something that perhaps Pakistan was not prepared for, terrorists are not prepared for. But, one of the contentions I've had, and in fact, Krishna, something that we've discussed extensively here, is that it's not just a problem with limited terrorists who are operating on Pakistani soil. It's the kind of backing that they continue to get.
From ISI,
from
the Pakistani
ISI to army establishment, where top generals are often seen visiting some of these camps, training them, indoctrinating them. So let's take that question to Dr. P.K. Misra. Dr. P.K. Misra, is that something that the terrorists did not anticipate? Because we've seen in the last couple of weeks, since Pahalgam terror attack, Pakistani army mobilizing its forces, bringing them to the borders, as much as 30% of its borders, 30% of its forces to the borders. So they were in anticipation of something happening, but perhaps happening too soon and on those targeted locations. That's something nobody knew of.
Yes, I can well tell you that Pakistan knew that we are going to definitely take action, and very quickly, as far as when Honorable Prime Minister didn't visit Russia, so also Mr. Rajnath Singh, our Honorable Defense Minister, did not visit. It was very clear, and even after Mr. Trump's, Donald Trump's statement before 2 days that India may take action within 48 hours, it was very, very sure that we are going to take action. In fact, the locations were targeted, targets were selected much before, and they were waiting for the opportunity. And definitely this has resulted in such a way that Pakistan, a lot of Pakistan army jawans, they are resigning from service, and a number of them, they are refusing to come to India's border, Pak-India border. That's the problem it has risen in Pakistan army. But I can well tell you, as far as General Munir is concerned, after Mr. Sehbaz's meeting, he will not sit quiet. He will definitely give a response, and the response will come within 48 hours maximum. Pakistan will retaliate, and definitely we accept it. We are also absolutely clear that they will come. They are finding their targets. but our air defense systems, our S-400 missiles, missile detectors, they are all ready. It's not that they can target anywhere in Kashmir or Pakistan or Punjab or Rajasthan.
Right.
These are the three places we are already ready in those borders. I can well tell you their preparation in Sialkot, where of course we have targeted one of their biggest camp, jihadi training camp in Sialkot. They were getting ready in Sialkot also. Their armored division, they were ready in Sialkot sector, and it was known. And India has also deployed its missiles accordingly, and our deployment of security forces has been made. But I can well tell you, this type of proxy war by Pakistan will definitely continue. They will never stop it. And that is how all these camps, wherever it may be, because they were not only 9, these 9 were major training camps.
Absolutely.
I have gone to Sialkot for a meeting and I have seen Sialkot personally, and they have another about 30 to 32 training camps are available in POK. So we have to look into that also. They will be changing their tactics. They will be changing the location of their jihadi.
Dr. P.K. Mishra, stay with us. Dr. P.K. Mishra, stay with us. We're just getting some important news as we speak. Prime Minister Modi has cancelled a 3-nation Europe tour. That 3-nation tour included Norway, Croatia and the Netherlands. Prime Minister Modi has cancelled his 3-nation Europe trip. Bear in mind, he also cancelled his visit to Russia for the Victory Day celebrations as well in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. And now the latest is that the Prime Minister, who was scheduled to go on a 3-nation Europe trip to Norway, Croatia and the Netherlands, has cancelled that trip. And in the meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi has also briefed the cabinet about Operation Sindoor. And on Operation Sindoor, he said that the Indian Armed Forces have carried out the operation flawlessly. As we speak, that's the briefing that's being done by the Prime Minister to the cabinet as he cancels his 3-nation Europe trip. The latest breaking news that we're getting over here. Prime Minister Modi reiterating that the entire nation stands together in this and has praised India's armed forces for the flawless Operation Sindoor. Prime Minister Modi briefing the Union Cabinet on the operation.
And a part of some of those important conversations that were in media as a result of that press briefing, I'm going to quickly read it out for our viewers. As to what the Foreign Secretary said while addressing the media earlier today, he said this was an attack to keep Kashmir backward. He also mentioned that this was the most serious attack on India in India's soil after 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. He said, and I quote, "The resistant front, the LET affiliate, took responsibility for that terror attack." That tweet on social media was later shared by members, higher echelons of LET. He also said that Pakistan has preferred and pressured to keep TRF, the resistant front, out of the UNSC briefing. Remember the UNSC, a closed door meeting that happened earlier, a couple of hours ago, about 48 hours ago for that matter, and the intelligence gathered by Indian agencies have identified the perpetrators of Pahalgam, and Pakistan continues to be a safe haven for terrorists. No action has been taken by Pakistan to stop terror, its infrastructure so far, and India exercised therefore its right to safeguard. It was an exercise which was non-retaliatory in nature. The attack in Pahalgam was designed to disrupt normalcy, and Pahalgam family members were deliberately traumatized. They were told to go back and tell Prime Minister Modi that this is what we've done, we've killed you and we've traumatized you, and this was a deliberate attempt to provoke India. In fact, further he said that no demonstrable step has been taken by Pakistan so far, which essentially means that they do not intend to do anything about the terrorists, their posts they continue to harbor in India.
Let's listen into what Vikram Misri had to say.
As you are all aware, on April 22, 2025, Pakistani and Pakistan-trained terrorists belonging to the Lashkar-e-Taiba carried out a savage attack on Indian tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir in India. They murdered 26 people, including one national of Nepal, causing the largest number of civilian casualties in a terrorist attack in India since the 26 November 2008 attacks in Mumbai. The attack in Pahalgam was marked by extreme barbarity, with the victims mostly killed with headshots from close range and in front of their families. Family members were deliberately traumatized through the manner of the killing, accompanied by the exhortation that they should take back the message. The attack was clearly driven by the objective of undermining the normalcy returning to Jammu and Kashmir. In particular, it was designed to impact the mainstay of the economy, tourism, with a record 23 million tourists visiting the valley last year. The calculation, presumably, was that harming growth and development in the Union Territory would help keep it backward and create fertile ground for continued cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. The manner of the attack was also driven by an objective of provoking communal discord, both in Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of the nation. It is to the credit of the government and the people of India that these designs were foiled. A group calling itself the Resistance Front has claimed responsibility for the attack. This group is a front for the UN-proscribed Pakistani terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba. It is notable that India had given inputs about the TRF in the half-yearly report to the monitoring team of the UN's 1267 Sanctions Committee in May and November 2024, bringing out its role as a cover for Pakistan-based terrorist groups. Earlier too, in December 2023, India had informed the monitoring team about Lashkar and Jaish-e-Mohammed operating through small terror groups such as the TRF. Pakistan's pressure to remove references to TRF in the April 25 UN Security Council press statement is notable in this regard. Investigations into the Pahalgam terror attack have brought out the communication notes of terrorists in and to Pakistan. The claims made by the Resistance Front and their reposting by known social media handles of the Lashkar-e-Taiba speak for themselves. Identification of the attackers based on eyewitness accounts as well as other information available to law enforcement agencies has also progressed. Our intelligence has developed an accurate picture of the planners and backers of this team. The features of this attack also tie in with Pakistan's long track record of perpetrating cross-border terrorism in India, which is well documented and beyond question. Pakistan also has a well-deserved reputation as a haven for terrorists from around the world, with internationally proscribed terrorists enjoying impunity there. In addition, Pakistan has been known to willfully mislead the world and international forums, such as the Financial Action Task Force, on this issue. The Sajid Mir case, in which this terrorist was declared dead, and then, in response to international pressure, brought back to life, found alive and arrested, is the most glaring example. The latest attack in Pahalgam has understandably generated deep anger in Jammu and Kashmir and in other parts of India. Following the attacks, the government of India naturally responded with a set of initial measures relating to our engagement with Pakistan. You're all aware of the decisions that were announced on the 23rd of April. However, it was deemed essential that the perpetrators and planners of the 22nd April attack be brought to justice. Despite a fortnight having passed since the attacks, there has been no demonstrable step from Pakistan to take action against the terrorist infrastructure on its territory or on territory under its control. Instead, all it has indulged in are denials and allegations. Our intelligence monitoring of Pakistan-based terrorist modules indicated that further attacks against India were impending. There was thus a compulsion both to deter and to preempt. Earlier this morning, as you would be aware, India exercised its right to respond and preempt as well as deter more such cross-border attacks. These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate, and responsible. They focused on dismantling the terrorist infrastructure and disabling terrorists likely to be sent across to India. You would also recall that the Security Council on 25th April 2025, had issued a press statement on the Pahalgam terror attack, underlining, and I quote, the need to hold perpetrators, organizers, financiers, and sponsors of this reprehensible act of terrorism accountable and bring them to justice, unquote. India's latest actions should be seen in this context. Joining me for this briefing on our actions earlier this morning are Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh. I will request them to share some details regarding Operation Sindoor with all of you.
मैं कर्नल सोफिया कुरैशी और मेरे साथ विंग कमांडर व्योमिका सिंह आज आपको 6 से 7 मई 2025 की रात 1:05 से 1:30 बजे के बीच भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों द्वारा अंजाम दिए गए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बारे में जानकारी देंगे। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम में हुए विभत्स आतंकवादी हमले के शिकार मासूम नागरिकों व उनके परिवारों को न्याय देने के लिए लॉन्च किया गया था। इस कार्रवाई में 9 टेररिस्ट कैंप्स को टारगेट किया गया और पूरी तरह से इसे बर्बाद किया गया। पाकिस्तान में पिछले 3 दशकों से टेरर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का निर्माण हो रहा है। इसमें रिक्रूटमेंट, इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन सेंटर्स, ट्रेनिंग एरियाज व लॉन्च पैड शामिल थे, जो पाकिस्तान और पाक अधिकृत जम्मू कश्मीर POJK दोनों में फैले हैं।
Operation Sindoor was launched by Indian Armed Forces to deliver justice to the victims of Pahalgam terror attack and their families. 9 terrorist camps were targeted and successfully destroyed. Over the last 3 decades, Pakistan has systematically built terror infrastructure. It is a complex web of recruitment and indoctrination centers, training areas for initial and refresher courses, and launch pads for handlers. These camps are located both in Pakistan as well as Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir areas. Some of the well-known training camps are located, as you can see on the screen. They are distributed from Savai Nala in the north, counting to approximately 21, ending at Bhavalpur to the south.
इन लक्ष्यों का चयन विश्वसनीय इंटेलिजेंस सूचनाओं के आधार पर हुआ ताकि आतंक गतिविधियों की रीढ़ तोड़ी जा सके और यह खास ध्यान दिया गया कि निर्दोष नागरिकों और सिविलियन इंस्टॉलेशन को नुकसान न पहुंचे।
The selection of these targets for Operation Sindoor was based on credible intelligence inputs and role of these facilities in perpetrating the terror activities. The locations were so selected to avoid damage to civilian infrastructures and loss of any civilian lives. This was done with due diligence, and the camps selected for targeting and their engagement will now be shown to you one by one.
सबसे पहले सवाई नाला कैंप मुजफ्फराबाद, जो कि POJK के लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल से 30 किलोमीटर दूर है। यह एक लश्कर-ए-तौयबा का ट्रेनिंग सेंटर था। 20 अक्टूबर 2024 सोनमर्ग, 24 अक्टूबर 24 गुलमर्ग, 22 अप्रैल 2025 पहलगाम, इन हमलों के आतंकियों ने यहीं से प्रशिक्षण लिया था। सैयदना बिलाल कैंप मुजफ्फराबाद, यह एक जैश-ए-मोहम्मद का स्टेजिंग एरिया है। यह हथियार, विस्फोटक और जंगल सर्वाइवल ट्रेनिंग का केंद्र भी था। गुलपुर कैंप कोटली, यह LOC से 30 किलोमीटर दूर था। लश्कर-ए-तौयबा का बेस था, जो रजौरी, पुंछ में सक्रिय था। 20 अप्रैल 2023 को पुंछ में और 9 जून 2024 को तीर्थ यात्रियों के बस हमले में यहीं से आतंकी को ट्रेन किया गया था। बरनाला कैंप बिम्बर, यह LOC से 9 किलोमीटर दूर है। यहां पर हथियार, हैंडलिंग, IED व जंगल सर्वाइवल का प्रशिक्षण केंद्र था। अब्बास कैंप कोटली, यह एलओसी से 13 किलोमीटर दूर है। लश्कर तौयबा का फिदाइन यहां तैयार होता था। इसकी कैपेसिटी 15 टेररिस्ट को ट्रेन करने की थी। अब मैं पाकिस्तान के अंदर के टारगेट से अवगत कराना चाहूंगी। पहला, सर्जल कैंप सियालकोट। यह अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा से 6 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर है, सांबा कठुआ के सामने। मार्च 2025 में जम्मू एंड कश्मीर पुलिस के 4 जवानों को की जो हत्या की गई थी, उन आतंकवादियों को इसी जगह पर ट्रेन किया गया था। दूसरा, महमूना जाया कैंप सियालकोट। यह 18 से 12 किलोमीटर आईबी से दूर था। हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन का बहुत बड़ा कैंप था। यह कठुआ जम्मू क्षेत्र में आतंक फैलाने का नियंत्रण केंद्र था। पठानकोट एयरफोर्स बेस पर किया गया हमला भी इसी से प्लान और डायरेक्ट किया गया था। मरकज ताइबा मुरीद के, यह आईबी से 18 से 25 किलोमीटर दूरी पर है। 2008 के मुंबई हमले के आतंकी भी यहीं से प्रशिक्षित हुए थे। अजमल कसब व डेविड हेडली भी यहां ट्रेन हुए थे।
आगे दूसरा आया। टारगेट 10 हुआ है सर अभी। टारगेट 10 हुआ, एंक्लोजर सेम ही है। 7 इट इज हिट द टारगेट। हाँ हाँ। आ गया सर इम्पैक्ट।
मरकज सुभान अल्लाह भावलपुर, यह इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्री से 100 किलोमीटर दूर है। जैश ए मोहम्मद का मुख्यालय था। यहां पर रिक्रूटमेंट, ट्रेनिंग व इंडॉक्ट्रिनेशन का केंद्र भी था। शीर्ष आतंकी अक्सर यहां आते थे। मैं आप सबको बताना चाहती हूं कि किसी भी सैन्य ठिकाने का निशाना नहीं बनाया गया और अभी तक किसी तरह की नागरिक क्षति की रिपोर्ट नहीं है। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
The strike on the terror camps were undertaken through precision capability, as shown to you. A niche technology weapons with careful selection of warheads was ensured so that there will be no collateral damage. The point of impact in each of the target was a specific building or a group of buildings. All the targets were neutralized with clinical efficiency, and the results reiterate the professionalism of the Indian Armed Forces in the planning and execution of their operations. No military establishments were targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in its response. However, it must be said that the Indian Armed Forces are fully prepared to respond to Pakistani misadventures, if any, that will escalate the situation. Jai Hind, and thank you very much.
And as we speak, Pakistan's stock markets are crashing post Operation Sindoor. Bear in mind, The Karachi Stock Exchange, or KSC 100, the stock market index of Karachi, was down 5.5% at one stage at opening. Currently
down about 2%. Karachi 100 is down 2%. So stock markets, they're crashing in the aftermath of those military strikes in Pakistan. That's the latest we're getting. As far as Sensex is concerned, I think it's also important to juxtapose how Indian markets are doing.
Indian markets
Sensex is in green. Indian markets are in green. So I think they already factored in a response from India in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack.
And also, there is also good news coming in for the Indian stock markets in the form of the free trade agreement that India has struck with the UK. So a combination of news that could lift the markets and could possibly pull down the markets somehow, ensuring that India's stock markets are remaining in the green.
That and the IMF projection that India is going to be the fourth largest economy, I think also playing up in investors' minds. So I think it would be fair to say right now, Krishna, nothing is stopping investors in India from banking on India's growth story. And this at a time when India continues to fight terrorism across border.
Right, and that's the mindset of the Indian investors in the Indian markets. But not so much as far as the investors in Pakistan stock markets are concerned. We have Dr. P.K. Mishra, former ADG of the BSF, continuing to be with us on this special broadcast. Dr. P.K. Mishra, the terrorist strike in Pahalgam was meant to cripple India economically, was meant to cripple Kashmir economically by taking away all the tourism that it has the potential for. And it looks like in the aftermath of it, it is Pakistan's economy that is being crippled, be it in the form of the water that is being dried up in their rivers, or in the form of what's happening to the investor sentiment over there in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor.
Yes, because of Operation Sindoor, just see Pakistan's stock markets, it has crashed, and there is no effect on Indian economy. Indian economy remains as it is, and it will go up because of Operation Sindoor. And I'm telling you, the thing which TRF did it, the thing which LET did it, and the way General Munir has planned it at Pahalgam, they are digging their own graves. And I am very sure that Pakistan stock markets, which has crashed now, they will crash more because of non-availability of fund of IMF and Asian Bank. Nobody will give them any fund, and that also they will realize when Chenab water will be stopped, when Jhelum water will be stopped, and when Sindh water will be stopped. You see how their stock market will further crash. And Pakistan, they are telling that they are increasing their defense budget by 18%. Where from they will get the funds? How they will purchase? And how come they will fire in artillery cells to us? Another 2-3 days they may fire, because artillery cells are there. They have gone to Ukraine. How can they fire? And this is the best time to hit Pakistan. And we agree that General Munir should respond, and he should respond as quickly as possible, so that his digging grave will be there, and most of his aircrafts penetrating to India, and most of their missiles coming towards India will be shut down. And we are ready with.
So I do hope better sense prevails and General Munir realizes the arms and ammunitions and the money in Pakistan's coffers is not enough to sustain them. Remember, they are seeking a $2 billion payout from IMF to sustain their economy. So they are in tatters. At the same time, I also want to quickly bring in those visuals from Pahalgam. I think it's important to mention that is where the attack happened in Baisuran. And we do have some beautiful visuals coming in there from Pahalgam where people continue to come in large numbers, giving out a message that you cannot scare us easy.
Right, and with that, it's time to get a quick check of all the big headlines of our tracking at this hour. Pakistan rattled by Operation Sindoor. 25 minutes of precision strikes on 9 terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Prime Minister Modi monitors Operation Sindoor all through the night as India destroys several terror launch pads in Pakistan territory. Prime Minister Modi cancels three-nation trip to Europe, to Croatia, Norway and the Netherlands after Operation Sindoor. "14 members of terrorist Masood Azhar's family killed in the Bahawalpur Madrasa in Operation Sindoor." Airports in Jammu, Srinagar, Leh, Amritsar, Jodhpur, Bhuj, Chandigarh, Rajkot and Jamnagar have been shut down till the 10th of May. We are bringing to you special rolling coverage of Operation Sindoor, India's response to the dastardly Pahalgam terror attack.
And we continue to get you all those details as far as India's Operation Sindoor is concerned, which is, as Krishna mentioned, a response to the Pahalgam dastardly attack on India's soil, in which as many as 24 people were killed. In fact, we are given to understand as many as 24 strikes were made on Pakistan.
24 strikes in 25 minutes.
In 25 minutes, in the dead of the night, in the intervening night of May 6th and 7th, the details of which are now emerging on your screens right now. And some of these strikes were carried out in precise locations that India identified as terror hubs. Let's quickly go through some of these locations one by one. To begin with, the biggest one was in Bhawalpur in Markaz Subhanallah. This is supposed to be a Jaish-e-Mohammed training center. It was the residence of Jaish Chief Masood Azhar, whose family members are now believed to have died. As many as 14 family members are believed to have died in that strike that India made. Remember, Azhar, as latest as December of 2024, made an anti-India speech from Markaz Subhanallah. So that was one of the strikes that India made. The second was, of course, Markaz Taiba.
Just to before you continue to tell us all that, let's also tell of the viewers the importance of Bahawalpur. Bahawalpur is the place, is the training ground for Masood Azhar, has been the training ground for Masood Azhar and many terrorists who have been involved in terror attacks on India. So clearly, if you look at just Bahawalpur, the choosing of the target tells you the nature of the targets that were chosen for this particular attack, Shweta, isn't it?
It's called a terror nursery for a reason.
Right.
It's 100 kilometers inside the LOC.
Right.
So that also goes on to show the prowess India has as far as, attacking terror sites which are far deeper inside the army territory or the enemy territory. The other one was, of course, in Muridke, which is also very significant because this is an LET training facility.
Right.
It was financed by Osama bin Laden and it trained Qasab, the perpetrators of 26/11. It hosted David Headley, Tahabur Rana. So all these people who are known to be terror operatives, who are and not just Hafiz base and known to aid, abet terrorism, and that was a crucial facility. It was again inside Pakistan. And the third one, before I give it back to you, Krishna, was also significant. It was Sialkot,
right?
The Mehmoona Zoya facility in Sialkot, another Hizbul Mujahideen facility. So Hizbul Mujahideen, LET, Jaish-e-Mohammed, all terror outfits, as many as India could target in 25 minutes, it has done so.
All that India could target in 25 minutes in a joint operation by the tri-services. 9 terror bases have been struck and completely destroyed. Prime Minister Modi has briefed the Union Cabinet on the successful, as he called it, flawless Operation Sindoor, and we're now getting you all the latest as far as the aftermath of Operation Sindoor is concerned. One big headline coming out of it is the fact that 14 members of dreaded terrorist Masood Azhar's family have been killed in Operation Sindoor, which struck 4 sites in Pakistan and 5 sites in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. All terror infrastructure operating on Pakistan soil that Pakistan has done nothing about for decades. Finally, India ensuring that they are erased. It's a precision attack, as Shweta has been telling you. More importantly, the intention is to target specific one building or a set of buildings. No Pakistani military infrastructure or Pakistani civilians were targeted in these attacks or were even affected because of these attacks. And India also putting out a very important word, non-escalatory.
Non-escalatory. So this should not be seen as a tit-for-tat reaction.
Right.
It is seen and should be seen in the light of a precise action that India has taken deliberately in order to ensure its own safety and security. I think that's important. A word that Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, used was this was a responsible strike.
Yeah.
This wasn't a strike done in revenge, and it should not be seen as one. It was done to safeguard India and its interests, because some of these terror locations could potentially harm India and India's interest in future. And that is what India referred to while carrying out those attacks. Let's listen in to that entire press conference that happened at 10:30 this morning, in which the details of that armed forces attack on these terror camps was shared with the media.
As you are all aware, on April 22, 2025, Pakistani and Pakistan-trained terrorists belonging to the Lashkar-e-Taiba carried out a savage attack on Indian tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir in India. They murdered 26 people, including one national of Nepal, causing the largest number of civilian casualties in a terrorist attack in India since the 26 November 2008 attacks in Mumbai. The attack in Pahalgam was marked by extreme barbarity, with the victims mostly killed with headshots from close range and in front of their families. Family members were deliberately traumatized through the manner of the killing, accompanied by the exhortation that they should take back the message. The attack was clearly driven by the objective of undermining the normalcy returning to Jammu and Kashmir. In particular, it was designed to impact the mainstay of the economy, tourism, with a record 23 million tourists visiting the valley last year. The calculation presumably was that harming growth and development in the Union territory would help keep it backward and create fertile ground for continued cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. The manner of the attack was also driven by an objective of provoking communal discord, both in Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of the nation. It is to the credit of the government and the people of India that these designs were foiled. A group calling itself the Resistance Front has claimed responsibility for the attack. This group is a front for the UN-proscribed Pakistani terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba. It is notable that India had given inputs about the TRF in the half-yearly report to the monitoring team of the UN's 1267 Sanctions Committee in May and November 2024, bringing out its role as a cover for Pakistan-based terrorist groups. Earlier too, in December 2023, India had informed the monitoring team about Lashkar and Jaish-e-Mohammed operating through small terror groups such as the TRF. Pakistan's pressure to remove references to TRF in the April 25 UN Security Council press statement is notable. Investigations into the Pahalgam terror attack have brought out the communication notes of terrorists in and to Pakistan. The claims made by the Resistance Front and their reposting by known social media handles of the Lashkar-e-Taiba speak for themselves. Identification of the attackers based on eyewitness accounts as well as other information available to law enforcement agencies has also progressed. Our intelligence has developed an accurate picture of the planners and backers of this team. The features of this attack also tie in with Pakistan's long track record of perpetrating cross-border terrorism in India, which is well documented and beyond question. Pakistan also has a well-deserved reputation as a haven for terrorists from around the world, with internationally proscribed terrorists enjoying impunity there. In addition, Pakistan has been known to willfully mislead the world and international forums, such as the Financial Action Task Force, on this issue. The Sajid Mir case, in which this terrorist was declared dead and then, in response to international pressure, brought back to life, found alive and arrested, is the most glaring example. The latest attack in Pahalgam has understandably generated deep anger in Jammu and Kashmir and in other parts of India. Following the attacks, the government of India naturally responded with a set of initial measures, relating to our engagement with Pakistan. You're all aware of the decisions that were announced on the 23rd of April. However, it was deemed essential that the perpetrators and planners of the 22nd April attack be brought to justice. Despite a fortnight having passed since the attacks, there has been no demonstrable step from Pakistan to take action against the terrorist infrastructure on its territory or on territory under its control. Instead, all it has indulged in are denials and allegations. Our intelligence monitoring of Pakistan-based terrorist modules indicated that further attacks against India were impending. There was thus a compulsion both to deter and to preempt. Earlier this morning, as you would